Through the efforts of some very hardworking individuals and very passionate people, a few weeks ago we were able to dedicate this sign. Could you go into a little bit about the sign? It's a state marker, but it has the history of Floral City.
Well, Floral City has a very rich and storied history, and it's one that goes back to the Spanish conquistadors when there was a small Indian village here at that time called Tocaste. And we take that history from that point and even prehistory before the Europeans arrived here in the North American continent. We take the history of Floral City from that point forward almost to today. And it's a very, very rich history. And it was so appropriate that when we decided to fund this marker, the placement of it is here on this very historic location. Not only does it cover the Indian villages that were here of Tocaste that I mentioned earlier, but also the Seminole Indian village of Chohilihajo, which translated into English means crazy deer's foot. No reflection on the community itself. However, we have many other things that occurred here, such as the paddle boat steamboats that were here on the lake and the river. We also had the railroad that arrived in 1993. But also mentioned here is what we've been talking about today, which is our beloved historic oaks. And this here is installed in the midst of these trees that you see surrounding it. So it is so appropriate from a standpoint of an historic preservationist.
These trees, it's amazing to me that people who came here, and like we saw the pictures of a barren land, there wasn't anything here, they had an idea to make these beautiful trees, and then people have continued to hold this up and take care of them. And we have to realize that while these trees are beautiful and they are monuments here in Floral City, they are natural monuments, which means they're not going to live forever. And so that's going to bring us into what we need to do next and what we need to do to preserve these trees. Like I said, they are living, so once they're gone, they're gone. But I know that there's been lots of people working very hard to make sure that that doesn't happen so that we can continue these trees on for generations to come. We were having the dedication for this, and I walked up and everybody was already here. It was, I can't tell you how heartwarming to see the outpouring of the whole county. Plus the people in Floral City. I was really, really impressed, and it really made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside that the county came out and made such a big showing, and other people came. And even with this show, it's not just Floral City. Nick Nicholas' business is not in Floral City, but yet they support our Floral City show. And it's really nice to see our county really get cohesive and work together and get united. And that was one instance where I got goosebumps just thinking about it.
Well, I think there's something else too, Shannon, that we ought to tell your viewers, and that is Floral City is one of the eastern gateways into Citrus County from the interstate.
Yes,
and the fact that we have this rich history and that we have this interest in the community and the fact that it has this old Florida feel to it is so very important. And we create a first impression when we have visitors coming through here and when we have the entire county, Shannon, turn out for an event like this, which is important and it affects the whole county. It is very gratifying, and we were very, very pleased.
On a Sunday afternoon, there's a lot of things you'd rather do with your family and this and that, and for them to even take their personal time to come out here, that says a lot about the community and the county that we live in. And we're all really grateful that Floral City is wonderful and we love it, but it's also a very small part of a much bigger county that is beautiful from corner to corner, in my opinion. So it's great that we can all come together and make it work. Well, friends, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We have had an incredible day walking up and down the Avenue of the Oaks, and I want to thank Frank Peters, of course, who I call Mr. Peters. But he is a wealth of information on not only the history of Floral City, but the trees and the interworkings of the Historical Society. And you're one of those people that we need to thank that keeps all of this stuff, especially in this beautiful museum, which you might not know about, but this is the Floral City Heritage Museum. It is open from Fridays and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
Correct.
And they've got things in here you can buy. There's all kinds of history exhibits here on the walls, different things that you can look at and see just what it was like to live back then. So I want to thank you greatly for coming out today and sharing part of your knowledge with me. And as always, you're a big part of my life anyway. So.
My pleasure, Shannon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And from the residents of Floral City also, thank you for everything you do for the generations to come, because without people like you, we wouldn't have all this stuff to learn from. So
I appreciate that.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank WYKE-TV, as they are always the best to get us out and on TV. I would like to thank Nicholas Ford in Inverness for always being so kind to be our sponsor here in Floral City, and they deserve a huge thank you. So Nicholas Ford, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please come anytime to Floral City. Stop here at the Heritage Museum. You might find Mr. Peters and you might find some of the other docents here that are very knowledgeable and would be more than happy to tell you about our favorite place in the world, Floral City. This is the real old Florida.
So, the next time you experience a moment of joy from driving through the serene canopy of Floral City's great oaks, please keep in mind that you're benefiting from an illusion of serenity that is actually an ever-changing and strategically managed process. It takes a lot of work and dedication to maintain this natural resource.